welcome back to my channel. So today, you guys, I wanted to share with you guys what read alouds we've been doing, what books we've been reading through our curriculum on our unit studies and things like that. Some books that we read over Christmas break that we really loved and I wanted to share with you guys. This is my first real book review. I don't know why I haven't done these before, but I'm super excited to share with you guys what we've been reading and how we've been loving them or liking them or not really been into them. So if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Liz and this is Simply Homeschool. On my channel, I like to share everything having to do with homeschool, sharing our day in the lives, doing organizational videos, clean out videos, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter updates, catch-ups, you guys, all kinds of videos, just literally anything having to do with homeschool. And I hope that you guys stay and subscribe. I hope that you guys get some encouragement out of this channel. And for all you mamas and dads that have come back to my channel over and over again, thank you guys for hanging out with me and finding this channel somewhere where you can find enjoyment and peace maybe. So getting into this, I have quite a bit of books. I did write down some notes because I forget what I'm going to talk about, you guys, and so I wanted to write it down just so that I had something to kind of look at. So the first book that I'm going to share with you guys, it's called Creative God, Colorful Us by Trillia Newbell. It explains throughout the book biblical facts and how God created us. And yes, we are all the same, but we are all so very different. And instead of just looking at each other and thinking, oh, we're all the same, knowing that we are not all the same, we look very different, we have different interests, we have different qualities about us that are very different, and that it's okay, and that we should all just accept each other and love each other, and that, you know, God did make us in his image, and we are all sinners and he died for us, and that is all of the similarities between us, but there are different things, and it's okay, and it's good to embrace that and just love each other for each other. So this was a really good read. My daughter and I read it at night. We got through it, I would say, in about 5 evenings. So what's really cool with this book is, for instance, it has helpful words to know, and in the back of the book or throughout the book, you'll see some words that are in red, and those are words that you can find in the back, and it'll break down, it'll have the definition for your daughter or son, so that if they're not sure what that word means, they can read the definition. It also has what do you think section, so it kind of makes your kids sit back and think about it. And then it also has the big idea, and that's just something that they're kind of focusing on each chapter. At the end of each chapter, you have some little questions or activities. So these are the what do you think questions. Let's see if we could get this in focus here. But there's questions here to go over with your kiddo. They also have activities that you guys can work through. Now, myself and my daughter, we didn't do the activities because we literally read this before bed, but we talked a lot. It brought up a lot of things to talk about. This would be a great book for morning basket. But this is a really great book. You guys, so the next one we have here is Created with Emotion, and this is by the Daily Grace Company. I picked it up on one of their sales. It was only $5. And I read this during morning basket. So it basically just touches on all of our emotions and how God created us in his image, and that emotions are okay to have. And it just kind of breaks down on how you can handle specific emotions or why you're having them. But it all goes back to God and Jesus and how it all kind of correlates together. So this was a really good read. It brought up a lot of topics and we talked a lot about it. The next book I have here is The Story of Thomas Jefferson. Now this my daughter read on her own. She wanted to read it. She likes reading biography books like this and the Who Was series. But she read this and she really found it interesting about Thomas Jefferson's life. Also, if you guys are going to use this for school, it's pretty cool too. Let me show you guys real quick. But it has pictures in it, so you know, for the younger elementary age kiddos, they'll find it more interesting here. They also have questions in here that you can just check to make sure that your kiddos are comprehending what they're reading and they're remembering. And then it also has a glossary back here in the back, so if there are words throughout here, they're usually in bold letters, you'll find those ones in the back. to kind of go over with your kids. So this one she really enjoyed. She did like a little book report on it and she liked it. All right, you guys, so the next book I have here is The Promise and the Light. It's a Christmas retelling by Katie Morgan. Now my daughter and I really enjoyed this book. We would read it at night before bed. We'd probably read a couple chapters every night. Sometimes we would read more. We did have a couple nights where we weren't able to read, but we really enjoyed it. Now I will say, first, I want to mention that this book is about Mary, Joseph, and Zachariah, and it's actually them telling the story themselves. Obviously, it is fiction, but it does have biblical truth within it. And in the back of the book, which is really cool, it kind of explains some of the things that they took biblical, and so you could kind of differentiate with the kiddo while you're reading it or after you read it. So I thought that that was really cool. Another thing about this book is they did use a couple words like stupid. I wonder if it was just stupid. I can't remember, but there were a couple words that I was just like, wish they would have used something else. They didn't. So me and my daughter just talked about it. A couple other things is when I first read a couple parts of this story. Now this story is the life of Mary, Joseph, and Zachariah leading up to the point of Jesus's birth. So in some of the stories, it kind of threw me off. Now, I don't want to tell this to you to ruin the story. I mean, we all know what happens in the story of when Jesus is being born, but this is not biblical, what I'm about to tell you. It is actually part of the fiction, part of this book. So it's when Joseph's mother finds out that Mary is pregnant because she's throwing up, and Joseph's mother realizes that Joseph is not the father, and so she slaps Mary across the face. And when I read that, I was like, whoa, okay, that kind of went a little far, like a little further than I had wanted it to take as I'm reading it to my daughter. So I stepped back and we talked about it a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know. I would have preferred them not to put it in there so crazy. But then that night after she went to bed, I was thinking about it, okay? And I'm like, okay, let's think about this. To find out that your son's soon-to-be wife is pregnant by someone else, that is disrespect. Just thinking of how everybody lives and how the disrespect that would have been on the families that were involved in it, I can honestly see something like that happening. So I see why they did it, because the story of Jesus is not all beautiful. Like, the story of his birth is the most beautiful thing ever, right? Besides him dying on the cross for us. But the story of his birth is not picture perfect. It's not roses and rainbows. Do you know what I'm saying? So there was ugly parts throughout that story. Another one was when they're talking about, you know, that they're in the manger and there's dung on the floor and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, oh man, but it's so true, you guys. He was born in a manger where animals were. It was not clean. They were not clean. So this picture that we all have in our minds, maybe not all of us, but the picture that we have in our minds is it's all like beautiful and glorious. And it is. The birth of Jesus is beautiful and glorious. But there are things that are, you know, dirty and, you know, times of trial and, you know, so I feel like I'm happy that they have it in this book. And I explained it to her after we read the whole book. We kind of went over everything and I kind of broke it down to her like that. So if you guys are going to get this book, know that there are some, you know, more heavy topics that you're going to need to talk and discuss with your kiddos about. So I wouldn't read this to the younger elementary age. Kind of feel out how mature your kids are and what you want them to know. And, you know, we're very honest with my kids, and so we do talk about specific things. So I felt like at first it threw me off, but I really loved this book and I think that it was well written. And so yeah, so that's my take on this. Let me know if you guys have read it and what your thoughts are underneath in my comments. I'm kind of curious to know how other mamas are, you know, taking that book. Okay, so the next one I have here is Helen's Big World, The Life of Helen Keller. So we went ahead and in our Notgrass, we read through the lesson on Helen Keller. But if you guys have been around my channel, you know that I like meat to our lessons. So I did an actual unit study and we went through Helen Keller's life. The kids loved it. This was a picture book that I purchased off of Amazon, and it's a beautifully written book. The illustrations are so pretty, you guys. So you can actually get this book if you're not going to do a unit study. This breaks her life down within just, you know, a few minutes of reading it. And it touches on a lot of the things that we learned about her. So if you're looking just to read something, you know, shorter, not do something so long on Helen Keller, this would be a perfect book. This is a great book for younger kids if this is all you want to touch on with Helen Keller instead of doing something drawn out. But this book was really, really great, and the girls loved it, and they actually learned a lot just from this book, because I read this to them before we did our unit study, and they had already known a lot before we started the Who Was series because of this book. So it was a really great book. All right, you guys, so leading into the next one, it was Who Was Helen Keller. If you guys have not read any of the Who Was series, these books are awesome, you guys. My kids, well, my daughter and my niece love these. They actually look forward to our unit studies, and I think half the reason is because of the actual Who Was series, or the books that we've been reading through. This book is great for elementary age kiddos. It's very engaging. There's pictures that the kiddos can enjoy as they go through it, and the books don't really take very long to read through. We get through one of these in about a week, I would say, maybe 2. It just depends on our unit and how many questions and activities and crafts we have to go along with them. But this one was on Helen Keller. It was great. The kids loved it, told all about her story. We even watched a documentary after it, or I'm sorry, it wasn't a documentary, it was a movie. But this one was really good. The kids loved it. So we have that. The next book we have here is The Story of God with Us. This book, you guys, is absolutely stunning. I picked this up, let's see, I did a pre-order on this and it came out the beginning of December. So my daughter and myself read through this in December. Now, it's basically a story going from the Old Testament to the New Testament. It's pretty short, you guys. You could read through it pretty fast. I would say that if you wanted to go more in depth with this, you could read, you know, like a layout, like, you know, when it's like this. I don't know what it's called. I call it a layout. But like if you read one layout, so just one story, and then maybe touch on it in the Bible or read some verses from that specific story from the Bible, you guys could definitely go in more depth with it, is what I'm trying to say. But basically this is all about how God has his desire to just be with his people, and always, he's always there. So throughout history of you know, the trials and tribulations that we've all gone through, starting back from the Old Testament, it just shows how wonderful God is and how he's always with us, and how he always moves us from one thing to the next. So I really enjoyed this. My daughter enjoyed it too. The illustrations are absolutely beautiful. We loved it. I'm going to read through this multiple times. We've read through it just this once, but I think we kind of just read through it and we talked about it as we went. But I think I want to like go through each layout like I explained to you and kind of like touch on that a little bit more throughout the Bible. I think that that would be a really cool way to do it. So that is the story of God with us. The next book I have here is The Secret of the Hidden Scrolls. This is part 2, or book 2, not part 2. This is book 2. We read book 1 last year and we've been wanting to read this, you guys, but I don't have enough time in Morning Basket to do all the things I want to do. So I've been doing read alouds with Tally at night, and then I read through Isaiah's, you know, kids books for him. So I do either Tally first and then Isaiah, or I read to Tally. Or I read to Isaiah and then Tally. But so we read this through our read aloud at nighttime before bed, and literally, you guys, we got through this, I think, within like 5 days. We were doubling up. We were reading 3 and 4 chapters a night, but we really enjoyed it. It's basically about a brother and sister, and they're like at their uncle's house, and I don't want to give away the whole story, but okay, so it's about a brother and a sister, and they have a dog, and they're like on this mission to figure out the mystery of the hidden scrolls, and it takes them back to different places in biblical times. Well, all times are biblical, but so for instance, this one is Noah's Ark, and so they have to go and they have to help piece together the message on the scroll. So it's really cool. My daughter loves it. It's actually pretty funny, and we really enjoyed it. So I have the 3rd one in my shopping cart, and I'm going to get that very shortly, you guys. My sister has it, but I want our own because I think I want to save these. I want to read them to Isaiah. So he's not into stuff like that yet, so I don't even try. The next book we have here is the VIP, Louis Latimer. This one we actually read for school. So we did, let's see here, we did Alexander Graham Bell, and then we did a unit on him. And I was recommended this book from one of you guys, and we really enjoyed it. It's about Louis Latimer. He was a inventor of his time, and he was a great inventor, and it just kind of walks through his story. But it's kind of cool because his life kind of parallels to Alexander Graham Bell's, and so after we read about Alexander Graham Bell and we read him, Alexander Graham Bell and some of his story was in here. So it was pretty cool because the kids got to kind of piece it together and see how, you know, everything works together. So this story was really good, really interesting. You know, the kids were interested in it, and yeah, let me think here. It was a while ago, so I'm trying to think if there's anything. I don't know. I think that's it, but it was really great. So if you guys are looking to add into some of your curriculum, that's a great one to kind of piece in there. The last book I have here for first quarter, I have more, but I have to sit down and talk to my niece about them because she's the one that read them. So these are the ones that myself and my daughter did. Okay, so the next book I have here is by Lightkeeper. It's 10 Girls Who Made a Difference. My daughter read this on her own. She really liked it. It touched on 10 different girls and their sacrifices in their lives, that they lived for Jesus and made a difference, right? So she really enjoyed it. I want to say she read it within a couple weeks, maybe 3. I can't remember. So I wanted to mention to you guys, and I'll probably put this in one of my other videos because I'm not sure who's going to watch this review and who's going to watch my other videos, but I've been finding it really hard to do read alouds with my daughter only in morning basket, because for us, our homeschool, we only do morning baskets on Friday mornings. And the books that I'm reading are biblical. So that's what I really wanted to focus on this year. So that's what's taking the place of our readers is, you know, our morning basket with Bible. So now we do Bible Monday through Thursday anyways as our class. So it's not really morning basket. I use a curriculum and then I add in supplements. So I really was struggling with thinking that we weren't going to be able to read as much, and I wanted to read stories to my daughter and my son. So I decided that every night I'm going to read a read aloud. I was just reading stories, but they were more kid friendly, like for my son. So I was reading stories that my daughter could listen to, but they weren't really like chapter books. That was just kind of being lazy on my part, I guess. So I decided to read to both of them. So like I said, I read to him his stories, and me and my daughter are just choosing books out of our little library here and reading through those as read alouds. And so that's how we're getting through our read alouds, you guys, is at nighttime. It's not even during our school day. So, and we are both really loving it. She loves having that time with me, sitting down and reading, because I asked her, like, are you okay doing this? Do you like doing it? I mean, I still would have done it anyways, but I just wanted to know if she was enjoying it and not just like, oh gosh, mom's gonna read again. But she loves it and I love it. So it's like a bonding time. And my daughter has been reading to my son like off and on. Like if I have to take care of the bunnies before bed or whatever, she will read a story to him before I get to the room to read to him. And he's been loving it. Like I notice after they read, they like want to be together. They like cuddle before bed. It's so cute. So I really do believe that read alouds and reading together is like a bonding. So anyways, with all that being said, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that this review helps you guys on maybe your next book that you're going to choose for the house or for, you know, just for school, whatever you guys want to use them for. But I hope that it's helpful. I hope that you guys are enjoying January, the new 2022. Yep. We're in 2022, you guys, so I hope that things are going well for you guys. I will continue to pray for all of you mamas and dads and this world. And yeah, so be safe, be blessed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars,